Hello, this is Bryan Connolly, and I'm talking about Vulcan Video today. Um, Vulcan Video, interesting place. I moved when I moved here back in 2006. Is when I first heard about Vulcan Video, and I was really excited because there was one by where I was living up north on campus, and there was one way down south, and I decided to go to the one way down south to see what that one was all about. And I went to rent the movie Ken Park, and a lady working there made fun of me and said that I was a pervert and that I was just trying to watch this sex film under the guise that it was art, uh, which may have been true at the time. But uh, and then I moved away and moved back 2 years later. And the first week that I was back, I applied for a job there, and it was interesting because it was the end of the day and they'd already been interviewing everybody all day long, and they didn't really like who they were interviewing, and so they just like kind of I gave them the resume and they're like, let's do the interview right now. And it was a written the interviews at Vulcan are great because they're really hard because they'll ask you kind of general job questions, but then they'll ask you like, okay, now you have to name every Stanley Kubrick movie in chronological order, and you're like, okay. And I did. And then to just really impress them, I was like, well, let's do every Woody Allen movie in chronological order. And I got pretty far. I think I got up until the late 90s. And that's a lot of movies. That dude makes a movie a year. Um, and then I was hired on the spot, which was very exciting. Um, so I started working there, and it's great because I feel the experience was what people are supposed to get from like college or high school, where you have these fond memories and you build these lifelong relationships and friendships. And I mean, I got that from some people in high school and college, but I never have the urge to like go back to a reunion or anything. Like just a small handful of people I really like, I still see. But with Vulcan, it's an interesting thing where it really is friendships that I'll have forever. And just like even the people that I didn't really get along with, or weren't like best of friends, it's still nice whenever I run into these people. And it's such a large group of people that have worked there over the many decades, and it is kind of like a wonderful just experience that I never had in any other workplace. Um, and The manager, Kristen, and I had an interesting relationship because for the first 2 years that I worked there, I was a very opinionated asshole, and I liked to talk in hyperbole, and would walk into the store and they would be watching something. I'd be like, ah, cartoon. I hate cartoons. Cartoons are stupid. They're for children. I would never watch a cartoon. They're the worst. And then so Kristen kind of thought I was annoying and a jerk, and she was the one who made fun of me for writing Ken Park 2 years earlier, and so we had this interesting relationship of her just kind of thinking I was this annoying turd, and I thought she was kind of mean and stern, and that went on for a few years, and then we realized that we actually loved each other and got married. So it's a classic screwball comedy plot. It's very much like It Happened One Night or a African Queen or something, where like we are stuck together in this workplace and don't really get along and don't really care for each other, and then realize, oh no, wait, we're actually made for each other and want to be together till death. Uh, so it's an interesting world we live in. Um, Many celebrities came into Vulcan, especially the Elizabeth Street store, because where we were on South Congress, and one was Spike Jonze came in looking for Terminator 2. It was rented, so he rented the much less good film The Siege. And it was funny because the other two people I worked with did not recognize him as Spike Jonze, but were big Spike Jonze fans. So as soon as they were done ringing him up, I was like, "That was Spike Jonze. You just rang up Spike Jonze," and they couldn't believe it. They couldn't believe that they didn't know that's what was going on. Um, a guy came in, like a really sweaty guy came in, and like he looked like he'd just been working out, and I was watching Transylvania 65000, and he was really fixated on the screen. I was like, "Is this The Fly?" And I'm like, "No, no, this is the other uh, Gina Davis, Jeff Goldblum movie, and he was just, mesmerized by it. And then we got into this literally 30-minute conversation about Jeff Goldblum and Gina Davis and their relationship and their on-screen relationship and off-screen relationship. And then about 25 minutes into this half hour, I realized it was award-winning actor Michael Fassbender. And I got really nervous by the end of the conversation, like, oh shit. Because I believe, no joke, an hour earlier we were just talking about his penis in the store, and and he might have even been in the store when we were saying that, and he was very nice, and then he paid this guy's late fee. This guy was there who was told he had like a $70 late fee, and Michael Fassbender was like, "Oh, I'll pay it. I'll pay it," and he's paid the guy's late fee. Um, one that I wasn't there for, but I heard, and I don't know who had this interaction, but a guy came in and said he was renting movies for Bill Murray because Bill Murray was in town. I think this was during South by Southwest, and Bill Murray wanted Golden Girls season 7, disc 2, and we all hope that that's true, and we all hope that Bill Murray like was going through Golden Girls, knew exactly where he left off, and just needed it, like after a night of partying, needed to go home to the Golden Girls. Um, it's great to it's been great and unexpected to work at a video store so long into the 21st century, like long after people said that they were done and they were over. Independent video stores were put out of business by Blockbuster and Netflix, and it was great that Austin at one time a few years ago, not too long ago, had like 5 video stores with Vulcans and I Love Videos, and it was a great time to be like, oh, it's 2012 and there's still like all these video stores in this town. And it was just very exciting because it's an experience that I didn't think I would ever have, because in my town, in my hometown of Olympia, Washington, most of all the video stores went away except for like this really great record store that rented videos, but all the big chains and even the mom and pop places were gone. So it was really special, and it just really tapped into like Austin still having this kind of independent spirit of supporting these record stores and video stores, and I hope that can still continue. It gets scary when you see a lot of these big dentist office cube, mixed use things come up, and everybody from the LA moves here, and you just worry that all these little places are all going to go away. And it's important to support them, all of them. It really is. And I know it's convenient to get things sent to your home through your TV and mail, but it's good to interact with people too. And all the customers at Vulcan were great. It really was a wonderful introduction to what Austin was and is when I first moved here from Washington State. And I met so many musicians and people that I didn't realize were like local celebrities. Like Leslie would come in and try to trade in DVDs and then come back and want them back. and like just different filmmakers and so many wonderful people. It was just always a great time to go to work. It didn't feel like work, and all the people that worked there, an interesting mix of people from all over the world. Just also artists and musicians and just film fanatics, like no casual viewers working there. And it's been kind of weird because in the 12 years that I've worked at Vulcan, I've gone to the theater to see movies less because you have free access to tens of thousands of movies. Like Vulcan, I think the South Store had in the end was like over 65,000 movies. And so I would every week when I first started working there, and it never stopped for 12 years, I would take home stacks of movies and try to watch all of them and fail. But like it was such a great resource to get every type of movie ever made, and just like eat it all up. Just a film buffet that just to gorge myself on. Speaking of that, for some reason people thought of people who worked at Vulcan as raccoons, and so especially at the Elizabeth Street store, people would just bring us food all the time. Like it would just be the businesses around there. Like we'd get free food from Guero's and pizza from Home Slice, and Big Top would bring us bags of candy, like candy that customers left behind and they couldn't put it back out to sell, so they would just bring us these giant things of gummy bears. And so when I moved here, I was a pretty skinny guy. I was probably like, I was real too skinny. I was like 125. And then in less than 5 years, I shot up to 215, all because of Vulcan, the Vulcan diet of just eating things. And like people would literally, it wasn't just businesses, people would literally bring us their leftovers from home. Like it'd be like post Thanksgiving or a birthday party, someone would just be like, here's a half-eaten sheet cake, here's half of a ham, and we would just eat it all. We would just, there was a time where I didn't have to buy groceries because I would just eat off of the free food that was dumped on us at Vulcan. Um, the meeting everybody who worked there was great, and it's relationships that I will have forever, and they're just the best bunch of people, and they really do care about movies. And we were never the rude video store. We were never the arrogant one. We were not like the stereotypical like you see in movies like bored video clerk. Like we were a family store, and we loved our customers, and our customers loved us, and we all loved each other. And it was great. It was great to see like children coming in or teenagers coming in, you know, this late into the 21st century and still having a video store memory. So it's great to think that like in 10 years there'll be a 12-year-old who's like, oh, that place I went to with all those movies, it wasn't just in a computer, it was like a whole building. And that is exciting and great to think that's a memory that we've made for people. And also that hopefully those people will not take for granted you know, films and film history, because I think it's easy to go into this world of convenience, but then you realize that like the big three companies that are controlling what we're watching doesn't have all the movies we want to see, especially anything old. Like, and it's dangerous and scary to not, you know, have available every movie ever made. Like you can see every painting ever made in a book, which is nice, and it's not the same experience as seeing in person, but at least you can still say like, oh, that's what the Mona Lisa looks like, or you can hear a song recorded, or see or listen to a version of a song someone wrote 100 years ago, or see a play that someone wrote 500 years ago. But a movie, you have to see the movie to have it work, and you can't experience that from a book or from a picture. You actually have to watch it. And so it's really sad when places like Vulcan do go away, because it's a big chunk of culture that is being, you know, obliterated from the world. And then we just all have to scurry to try to find it whenever we want it, and we have to know what we're looking for. And the great thing about video stores was you were able to not know what you're looking for and just kind of look around and be like, oh, that looks, what is that? I want that. And now in this age of streaming, you have to know what you're looking for, really. You can't just kind of go around and get, I mean, I guess you can randomly go through Netflix and watch, but then you've seen it all and it's done. The Jimmy Kimmel show experience was very interesting. We had won a contest. Carrie Lewis, one of our employees, wrote this really funny little thing saying that it would be great to have an ad film there from the Jimmy Kimmel show. And we won, and they showed up, and we weren't allowed to tell anybody. We weren't even allowed to tell the coworkers. We had to keep it a secret for months, which was really hard. And but they were very nice. Like the whole crew was great, and they were all the nicest bunch of people. And Jimmy Kimmel was so nice and just really personable. And then when Matthew McConaughey showed up, he drove himself there from wherever he lives, Round Rock or whatever, and drove himself in what you'd expect Matthew McConaughey to ride. It was like a 70s, you know, cool car. And he was really nice too. And he's a very strange man. He looked at me, I had a beard at the time, and he looked at me and said, Bryan, I bet you've had that beard since you were a baby. And then and I overheard him and Jimmy Kimmel talking about the Dwarf videos, the Tim Conway fake little person golf videos, and that was exciting. And then when we were filming the commercial, it was like way longer than what actually it ended up being. But between every take, Matthew McConaughey would slap my ass really hard to try to make me laugh, because he can tell that I was kind of rigid and nervous, and this unexpected, every time it was go like whack and squeeze it, and and just sort of like, you know, like kind of like just like manhandle me to try to get me to loosen up. That was you know, so I'm sure I'm the envy of many human beings in this world because of that. But he was also so nice. And after it aired, the Jimmy Kimmel people even called the store like a few days later, and they're like, Jimmy really wants to know, did the ad get you more customers? Did it help you out? And so they really did care. It wasn't just a joke. It wasn't just making fun of that a video store still existed, but they really were trying to help, and it was a wonderful experience. Um, that's all. I think that's everything that I have in my mind right now. But yeah, I'm just really grateful to have worked there. It will forever be a very special place in my heart. The good times and the bad times, I don't regret any of it. Thank you.